Hi, welcome back to Which Way is Up. This is part 2 of episode 2 with Isabella Vera. We are answering the question of what works.
To my family, kind of what works is it's definitely gotten better, way better. For a while, it was kind of that boundary. I actually still have this in place where my dad was an alcoholic for like huge portion of middle school and high school, and that's where a lot of stuff stemmed after divorce and stuff like that. He doesn't anymore, praise God. He'll maybe have like a drink or two every week, which is way better than what it used to be. But if I'm visiting him and he's drinking, I'll be like, hey Dad, I love you, but I can't be around you. Hey, if you're gonna drink, I'm gonna step out. And that's a boundary that I have in place, just because those memories kind of resurface. And as much as I want to be there and like be okay, I'm not in the place yet to be able to be around him, even if he's not getting drunk, if he's drinking, because I literally feel myself going into like fight or flight. He understands that and he respects it. He goes, okay, I love you, and he won't drink, or he'll maybe have a beer with his friends and stuff like that. And the days that he does that, I'll go and hang out with my friends because I haven't seen them in a while. So kind of that communication. And then with my mom, that one's a little bit like different because we're yet not as like emotionally close as I'd like to be, to where those things kind of resurface. It's more like joking, and that's my mom and I love her and stuff like that. You know, it's not like the Mom, I'm crying, I'm calling you. That'd be more like my dad. But in regards to my mom, honestly, when it's actually my own boundary. If things resurface, like I start to just like things start bottling up, I'm like, Mom, I'm just gonna go spend some time by myself, and I go to the Lord, because I know that I'm not in that moment in the right place to have a conversation or just continue even just talking in a manner that would be edifying or beneficial. So, and what helps, what works, is me taking that time to go to the Lord and be like, Lord, I just started feeling this. I need to come to you for wisdom and help my heart, help me to be patient, help me to be kind. I don't want to hold on to grudges, and kind of that, to kind of work towards us being to a place where we are, that she can have that part of my heart.
Wow, that's really good. You reminded me of a time with my mom and conflict. We jumped into conflict last week, but I like how you said you went to the Lord, like, because that was, I think like everyone has their own coping mechanisms, a way that they go about situations, whether it's anger, whether it's, I don't know, just so many different things, but mine was Jesus as well. I remember I was having a situation with my mom, and she got really upset with me over, she had ticked kind of herself off, to be honest, started talking about like my father, and it really hurt her. Like if I would say comment on something about it, she got upset and she started to go off on me, and I had to sit there, and I had one choice right now. I have two options. I can sit here and I can retaliate and I can make it worse and I can feel hurt, or I can pray. And so when you go to Jesus, he shifts the situation. He quite literally like took the situation, shifted it. She got up and said, Isabel, I'm sorry. That she, like, the Lord made her realize that. And so I think that's so important, because like Jesus is crucial for that. It really is. And the only reason like we're sitting here right now in the way that we have our relationships with our parents, it's not because of us changing them. You can't change anybody. You can't even change your parents, no matter of attention you show them, no matter of love you show them, no matter of caring or sympathy, the compassion you show them will not change them. You can't change anybody. Only Jesus can. And so the only reason why we're here saying we have a good relationship with our parents though the situation may have not changed or maybe has a little bit, is because of him. So
Yeah. So, question is, how do you honor your parents in conflict?
honoring is an action, and it's a sacrifice, because I feel like there's one part of you being like, I want to be mad and I want to hate my dad, but there's also the other part of me being like, if anything ever happened to you, what is me being mad gonna do? And so I had to make that choice, and viewing him higher, honoring him. And so yeah. But what is honoring to you? What is that? Where does that word hit?
Yeah. I would say 2 places, which makes complete sense. But I would say love and self-denial.
Wow.
Which love does encompass the self-denial. So, but in that, like, going into the story of the camera cut, I told my story. I want to tell it again because second time's the best. But like, I have this story of like honoring my father, and me and my dad's relationship didn't really get better until probably like 2.5 years ago, like when it started. But we go camping every year, and I remember we were on our yearly camp trip, and I saw him start to drink, and I was just like, oh no, nope, I'm going to speak my mind, and honestly just argue, because I just didn't understand how he could see all the damage that drinking has done to our relationship and what it does to him, and just the way that he acts when he's drunk, and just all this stuff, and just anger started bottling up as I remembered past memories, and then also just kind of just a lack of understanding where he's coming from. And I remember I was like making my way to go talk to him and prove I'm right, and just because it was just anger. I was just so angry and sad and hurt. I was like, I came up to see you and you're drinking. But I remember I'm like marching over there and I'm praying, and I'm like, Lord, I'm so hurt. I'm so hurt. And the Lord so gently and kindly was like, Isabella, I don't want you to start the argument. I don't want you to argue. I just want you to be silent, be still. And I was like, what? I was like, Lord.
It's not what you want to hear.
Literally. And I was like, Lord.
Especially in a situation.
Yeah. Right? I was like, Lord, but I'm right. I have every right to be angry, Lord. You saw how he hurt me. You saw what he did. You saw the way that he acts. You see what he's doing. And I was like, Lord, and the Lord he's so kind and gentle. And it's not that the Lord's like, oh, I don't care about the way you feel. No, never. It's like I hear you, but listen, you are doing more harm than good. This vengeance, this you speaking your mind, that's not your job. You come to me and I'll take care of the relationship. I'll work on him. And it was so hard to bite my tongue. It was so hard. It took everything in me, because when that hurt is still so fresh and you see it just happening in front of you over again, it's like, what do you do? Especially when you feel like you're in the right. And I remember I just bit my tongue and I didn't say anything. And I didn't start the argument. I just sat there. And I'm not even joking. From that moment, it was like a shift. Me and my dad's relationship started just getting better and better and better and better. And not only that, it wasn't that I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna ignore it. No, that doesn't do good. But it started to work on my tummy grumbled. But it started to work on in my heart of, why am I getting so angry? What's this? How can I look at my dad? Why is he doing this? Obviously no sane person does that. I was like, why is he doing that? And it helped me to have compassion, sympathy rather, on my dad, but also to come to the Lord and be like, Lord, I'm hurt. This wound is obviously still there. And when that healing began in me, and then it began obviously in my dad noticing that, I was able when I started healing, I was able to come to my dad and be like, hey dad, like I don't want to be around you when you're drinking. Hey dad, this hurt, and stuff like that. Have those conversations to where he can understand and I can understand him, that this isn't something he wants to do, you know, and everybody has their own choice. But it was very much a struggle of his. And be able to have that, the Lord just began healing and healing. And where we are right now, I just always think back to when it started in that moment of the Lord speaking in his sovereignty and graciousness, but also the obedience. Because what if I did start that argument? Where would we be now? But to see that there's healing and there's reconciliation in that.
Oh,
yeah,
that's so beautiful. Do you want to? Let's give them advice. Let's tell them.
Yes, advice. First, I want to say everybody's situation is different. There are some people who grew up and had the best parents, and there's other people who didn't have the best situations. And in each of those, there's still its own struggles. We live in a world that is fallen, and people are bound to make mistakes. That doesn't mean that's justified. But I want you to know that you're seen, and you're not alone, and that there is hope, and that there is forgiveness, and that there is reconciliation. And that you're not alone. This doesn't sound like, oh, tomorrow I'm just going to wake up and everything's going to be dandy. But it's hard. It's acknowledging that it's hard. For me, it was years of healing, and they're still being done. But it's beautiful when you start to see the fruit of it, of being able to just see the closer you get and the more intimate, and there is that. And so I don't want you to think of, oh, that's not possible for me, or oh, you know, whatever it is. We're all learning to navigate life, and we all have our own struggles, but what we can do is obviously seek the Lord, but pursue others in love, and know what love is, because there's so many, and that's a whole different conversation, but just skewed ideas of just love. And I want you to know that you are loved, and that can outpour into everybody around you as well, and that changes things.
Wow.
But first prefacing with that.
That's good. Yeah, I also, like, my advice is choose love. You know, I don't know where this came from, and choose love, not hate. I don't know where that came from, but it's so true. Like, at the end of the day, like, we're all made to give love and receive love.
Yeah.
And we know parents are difficult. We've been there. We've dealt with it. We know abandonment and just all sorts of funky things, but we are also able to choose love. If you have been in situations and your parents, because I know a lot of parents out there have a hard time knowing what love is themselves, that they can't show it to you, or maybe love has looked like achievements. Maybe love has looked like success. Love has been, hey, if you do this, I'll. Love has not looked the way that you've wanted it to within your parents. But just know that your love, knowing what love is and putting them first, will teach them how to love you. Does that make sense?
Right.
Like, talking about stories that we've encountered Jesus, and we've known love and rebuilt what that is for us, and through that love that we've known, that sacrificial love, that putting others before ourselves, our parents knew that, we're able to catch on. So don't play the card kind of like they don't love me, I'm not loving back, because that destroys you. So I literally cannot speak right now. We all know that, like, we deal with things in certain ways, and we had shared stories with Jesus and the way he has changed your life. But I also don't want you guys to take this as we are forcing religion on you, or we are forcing anything out for you to follow. No, like, we have encountered Jesus and have known his love for us, and that's the way that people have certain ways in which they deal with, and the way that we have was Jesus, and so by no means we don't want you to feel uncomfortable. We just want you to be open, because like that is the way
Right.
we find answers to things. So
Right. And it's like we get to be here and like share our story in hopes that it'll help you, because it's so hard.
Mhm.
Like, I wish there was somebody that I could have heard or spoken to at the time and kind of learned in that way as well. But yeah, this is our story.
Yeah.
And we hope that in the same way that you'll be able to look to it.
Yay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being on. I'm sorry for all the
I love it.
sorry for all the chaos.
It's okay.
I'll cut this off. But
No.
we appreciate you,
Yeah.
and I hope you gain something out of Isabella's story and mine as well.
Yeah.
All
Love
right.
Isabella's.
Yep.
It's a little.
Let's do a question of the week.
Yeah. What's your favorite sushi?
Sushi.
Or do you even like sushi? Please do. Please do.
We'll
Because
love
we're
you.
sponsored by sushi. I'm kidding.